everybody. Scott Barboza for ESPNBoston.com High Schools, joined once again by correspondent Bruce Lerch here at the Tsonga Center on the campus of UMass Lowell, where we just witnessed two Super 8 semifinal games. We have our final set for Sunday at the Garden. Number 7 seed, Malden Catholic. Number 4 seed, Austin Prep. A little bit of a surprise there coming in, but Bruce, let's get right into the action here. First game, Malden Catholic, Catholic Memorial. Really wild first period there. Teams trading goals up and down like dueling pianos going back and forth there. But again, the Aaron Nazarian show takes over, rolls into town. Another shorthanded goal here. Unbelievable play. And then the hat trick with the empty netter to top it off. But, I mean, really, what else can we say about his play here in this tournament?
Well, this has been Nazarian's tournament, no question about it. I'm trying to remember the last time anybody had not only just as many points, but just as big an impact as Ara has had in this tournament. I'm thinking, the guy off the top of my head I can even recall is probably Colin Blackwell, but I don't know if he had this many points. I know he didn't have this many shorthanded goals. I mean, this is just uncanny. Another shorthanded goal for Aaron Nazarian. And, I mean, like, now the joke we've been making for the first, 2 weeks of this thing is kind of getting stale. But shorthanded is just part of what they do, and they're killing it. And, hey, your best player's got to step up in the big games, and Aaron Nazarian did that today for Malden Catholic. And I mean, I think anybody who was paying attention to Malden Catholic at the end of the regular season and after that play-in game with Archbishop Williams, they really put the hammer down there. You could see this coming with Malden Catholic. The eruption, like we talked about last year, we were waiting for the eruption. Same thing this year. They're getting it. The three of those guys on that top line, Nazarian, Tyler Sifferlin, Mike Iavana, they are just all over the ice every play. And I've got to tell you, Scott, I've loved the contributions I've been seeing from the second group with Austin Goldstein, who to me was one of the best players on the ice tonight. I thought he was terrific. And that group on that second line with Wren and the other guys. And obviously the defense is there as well with Casey Fitz and Nick Rowley. And it's just and let's not forget Connor Maloney. I mean, making the saves. He's got. It's not like CM doesn't have any goal scorers. Big Liam Coughlin coming in there. He's, he had a big game against BC High the other night, coming in on a roll, and they really did a great job from that aspect of it.
With the Knights, Bill Hansen in his post-game remarks said that Catholic Memorial hockey is back after tonight, even despite the loss. I think a lot of things to build on to the future there. There are obviously going to be some key departures. Liam Coughlin, as you mentioned, Jack O'Hear, really their nucleus up the middle there. But again, we were just talking off camera a couple minutes ago about the strength of the defense. A lot of good freshman components there. Tim Weinstein, Frank Cozzolito, I think two guys that will be looking forward in the coming years. And then, of course, again, in net with Brandon Collette. I think a great nucleus to build around there.
Yeah, what a find, Collette has been for CM. And we know Bill has been raving about him all season. And I was talking, with some people the other night about the fact that I can't remember the last time that Bill Hansen spent a whole season raving about one of his goalies. Usually goalies are right at the top of the doghouse list at CM. Whether it's deserving or not, it doesn't matter. But boy, he's been on Collette since day one. And, hey, the kid has shown a lot. And to have him as the backbone of this team for the next 3 years with those young defensemen that you just mentioned, all they got to do is find a real goal scorer to replace Liam. And they will be. CM hockey is definitely back. 2 years out of the tournament, they get back, they make it the semifinals. They aren't going anywhere. They'll be back again. And we'll maybe seeing the start of another great run.
Speaking of goaltending, again, Elijah Harris once again showed up for this Austin Prep team in the nightcap. Really great, interesting third period, I thought, again, from the Cougars. I think the real pleasure of tonight was talking to Andrew Cross after the game tonight. Very well-spoken young man, and also we'll get into that in a little bit with the MC angle there. But talking about how that group has come together throughout this year. Again, it's something we've talked about, I think, in each of these installments here from the Super 8, is how this AP defense has come together. But another thing I want to touch on, though, that I pointed out when we started this tournament, breaking down and making my initial picks on this tournament, the X factor for Austin Prep. I picked out Nolan VC. A team, again, that's short on experience, and Nolan's a kid that's been there, for this program for a long time now. Scored some very big goals and scored some big ones here again tonight.
Yeah, 2 goals tonight for your leader, your senior captain. Again, like you said, very young team here. Nolan is the leader of the offensive group, crossed the leader with the defensive guys. Nolan Vesey came through big today, and obviously, the second goal that was kind of fluky and it, went in off the defenseman and whatnot. But the point is that Austin Prep created those chances, and this is something that Lewis was talking about afterwards. They created their chances, and they earned those bounces by throwing pucks at the net, by skating hard, by swarming the zone when they had the chances. And you keep throwing pucks at the net, good things happen. It's one of the oldest cliches in hockey.
Yep.
And Nolan Vesey was that guy tonight. It was a spectacular effort from him, well deserved.
St. John's Prep, coming off the ice tonight, completely dejected. They're always tough to lose in a situation like that. Really, both of these games came down to the final minutes and deciding goals there that, kind of found their nose and their way to the back of the net. But, for this, again, talk about some departing players, Brian Pino, Tyler Bird, who, I think particular in Tyler, scored some really big goals here in the last couple games for Prep. But, again, with the depth of that program year after year, I think, again, going in time, it's Prep. You don't really rebuild. You just kind of reload year to year, and I'd expect them, probably to be at the stage again next year.
No question, and I think what's going to bother them the most is that I don't think that the Prep showed everybody what they're truly capable of here.
Yeah.
I think we saw it in one game, Game 2 of the Central Catholic game, where they came out, they swarmed the ice, and they were absolutely the dominant force. They didn't win like 7-1 or anything like that, but you knew if you were here, they had Central on their heels the whole time. We didn't see enough of that from the Prep, and I think that is going to be the most disappointing thing for them to go forward. But like you said, the Prep is always a wagon. They're always going to have players. They're so deep as it is now, and they're graduating. A lot of talent, and a lot of good players. But the cupboard is far from bare, and we'll be seeing more from them as well.
All right, so let's shift ahead. We got our 6 state championship games to look forward to Sunday at the Garden. And, of course, the centerpiece of that is always the Super 8 final, going to be played at 6 o'clock, which is really kind of that prime time spot. Very interesting, some storylines coming in, I think, with Malden Catholic and Austin Prep. 2 teams that, Malden Catholic obviously comes in 2-time defending champions. It's the question of how do they keep getting back to that plateau? Again, retooling really every year. And then Austin Prep has really been the program on the rise this year. I think somebody that all of us looked in the preseason as a team that could be capable of getting to this very point. But, actually seeing them here at this point and going to be on that Garden ice on Sunday, it could come as a little bit of a surprise to some people. So, Bruce, what are you looking for in Sunday's game?
Well, here's the thing, and to kind of follow up on what you're just talking about, Scott, is there's been a lot of talk about Austin Prep. Maybe a year away. We knew that the talent was there.
Yep.
So we knew that this was going to happen maybe next year, maybe the year after. The biggest thing here, and we touched on this when we were talking about the game, and I'm going to bring it up again now, when we talked to Andrew Cross afterwards as the leader of that defense. It's been the coming together of the defensive group with Andrew Cross and Zach Fuller leading the way. Yeah. The offensive guys, we know they have talent. Yeah. Vesey, Carpenter, Cam Russo, you name it. All those guys, we know that they're good. Yeah. It's the defense, and Coach Finocchiaro said it in the pregame. He's like, people didn't think we could win games because our defense wasn't going to be good enough. Yeah. Well, that defense has come a long way since the beginning of the season, and they were, I thought, to me, the real reason that Austin Prep won this game tonight, and gives them reason to feel to bring confidence with them. Yeah. Obviously, Elijah Harris has been playing fantastic. And he didn't have to be spectacular tonight because the defense did their job. The defense was stellar tonight. And all Elijah had to do was make the saves that he can make in his sleep. And so I think that's a big X factor for Austin Prep coming into this one. On the other side, Malden Catholic, I like to think, I've said this before and I'll say it again, Malden Catholic is kind of the rock star team of Massachusetts. All the talented kids, they're fun to watch. They're exciting to play. I think that Austin Prep has a little bit of that too. I don't want to call them MC Light, but I can't think of anything else creative at this point in time.
And then we would get into rap, actually.
Right.
Yes.
But, they've got the same setup there. And I think that it's like that Austin Prep is almost modeling itself after what Malden Catholic has been doing the last few years. And lo and behold, we've got the two rock star teams that I like to call them in this championship game. So.
I thought Zach Fuller was a real standout tonight, and I think you hit the nail right on the head there, Bruce, when you said, in that writing series, I really think it was about Elijah, just literally standing on his head in that series. He was phenomenal. But tonight you saw, I was a little taken back by how, almost easy they made it look against Prep. In that third period, there really wasn't any quality scoring chances to go there.
Until the very end.
Until the very bitter end of that game. But they've come so far, and again, talking to Andrew Cross, that really came across. A little pun there for you, but
it's late.
Looking at that, how. The MCAP dynamic, they are very similar in those regards. I think, again, the Malden Catholic, you can look at those blue liners over there. Some of those guys have kind of gone a little bit under the radar. John McClain, I think, has made great strides this year. Somebody that you saw with raw potential there the last couple of years, but, coming to play night in, night out this year, and especially here in this tournament and late in the season. So I think there's a lot of similarities to be had there. Potential X factor, for the series coming in. And I think Connor Maloney, really, again, we always say, look, playing goaltender for Malden Catholic oftentimes especially in the last couple of years, wasn't an easy proposition.
No. Because
you're mostly a spectator to the action, and it doesn't come to you very often. And I think you can ask any goaltender out there, the games that you'd rather play, would you rather see, 45 shots, the bullets, buzzing at your head, or would you rather be there in a Barca Lounger? I think they would, go with the heavy shot load. And often it hasn't been that case for Connor. And he's always made, we saw it last year in the Super 8 prep, doing some prep work for this tournament, was looking at the highlights last year, and I forgot how good Connor was in some of those games, in particular the crossover game last year. And I think we're seeing that again here in this year's tournament.
Oh, I couldn't agree with you more, Scott, and we've talked about this over the last couple of months. There's an art form to not facing 40 shots.
Yep.
There's an art form to not facing 30 shots. And unfortunately for Connor, he's been kind of saddled with that, where when he wins the games, it's because the offense scores 5 goals or whatnot. But you have to make the stops too. I mean, because you can lose the game 7-6 if your goalie doesn't make the stops. So he makes the stops he's supposed to make. You almost kind of root for the kid and hope that one day he gets a game where he's got to be the one to steal it or something like that. Just so, because he almost deserves that, you know what I mean? But being in the shadows, last year they don't win the title without his play. Yeah. And with the talent of Austin Preps, and we'll see how Austin plays. And I think this is going to be, to me, the X factor is not one player. It's what is Austin Prep going to do? Are we going to see a lot of the dump and chase that we saw tonight? Mm-hmm. Or are the Cougars going to let those forwards fly? Do they want to let them fly? Do they want to get in a track meet with Malden Catholic? Maybe not.
It's interesting. Yeah. Yep.
Now they have the confidence in their defense from tonight. Maybe we see more of that. So that's more my X factor for this game, will be the style that Austin chooses to go with.
And then, of course, the imprints all over the place for Chris Serino, 2 disciples behind the bench with John McClain and Louis Finicaro. I think that's a nice little angle there. But, Bruce, let's do it real quick. Pick for Sunday.
Pick for Sunday. Again, we just witnessed a terrific defensive performance by Austin Prep, so I think that maybe we might see a game that's probably a little bit closer than people would think once they hear this matchup. I think everybody was looking at St. John's Prep to get through against Malden Catholic. Mm-hmm. That didn't happen, so people that haven't been paying attention don't really know what to make out of this Austin Prep team. But I think ultimately, again, I alluded to them as the rock star team, and they're modeling themselves after Malden Catholic. Malden Catholic is still the master. Austin Prep, in this case, is the apprentice for this year. Mm-hmm. And I think that Malden Catholic wins. We'll call it 4-1 with a late goal, to get that extra margin.
Malden Catholic assistant Phil Antonelli is going to jump through his computer screen right now. When I pick, Actually, I'm going to go with the Lancers. We'll call it a three-peat, 4-2 empty net goal. We'll fill you in on the rest and the details later on this week. But for now, for Bruce Lerch, I'm Scott Barboza for the final time from the Tsongas Center on the campus of UMass Lowell. Keep it tuned to ESPNBoston.com high schools.